1, 2, 3, 4.
You
Hi,
ready to
Kelly.
go? Hey, Wade. How
Thanks
you doing,
for
bud?
coming, buddy.
Yeah, no worries.
All right, so today is the first one ever, the real deal.
It's exciting, man. Yeah,
That's
thank
good.
you. Thanks for inviting me.
Thanks for being here. So, I don't even know where to start here. I've known you since I was a little kid, grade 6. I moved to Nanton, so. But the big story here today is I want people to, hear some of your travels. Kelly's been in Mongolia for the last 20 years, more or less, back and forth a little bit.
I went over in 1998,
Yeah.
in the summer of 1998, and I just moved back home about 6 months ago. So I was there for about exactly 20 years.
Nice.
And so it was long enough. It was time to move home, time to have the kids back into a good school and everything
We're
else.
always wondering when you're going to come back.
Yeah.
Everyone says, hey, when's Kelly coming home? I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I went over on a 6-month contract 20 years ago. So
Yeah.
so you never know what's going to happen. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
How did you get there? Who gave you the phone call and said, hey, man, can you come to Mongolia for a while?
I'll tell you a little story. So I was working in Fort McMurray for an oil company. Thanks to there's an oil family that's been in the oil business in Alberta for forever, and they're called the Merciers. So I first got a job with them in Fort McMurray, working at one of their gas plants, and I did that for a few years. And then one of the Merciers started working for a company called SOCO International, and they were a company that has the major owner is a U.S. American Texan.
Yeah.
And they traded on the London Stock Exchange. They had properties all over the world. So in Russia, Tunisia, Vietnam, Mongolia, North Korea, all the real nice places, you know.
All the exotic, nice places.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So Dan Mercier, he started working for this company, and I just gave him a call and said, if there's any opportunity, if you need anybody, let me know. And sure enough, I got a call pretty quickly.
Doesn't hurt to ask, right?
No, exactly. Yeah. So I went over there to begin with to train Mongolians in oil field production, as well as driving these big trucks. We had some big international oil haulers.
Tankers.
Tankers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went over there to teach the guys how to operate them properly. So it was only supposed to be for 6 months, and I ended up working for SOCO for 7 years.
Nice.
So,
And that was just north of the Chinese border?
yeah, it was. Yeah, that's right. So the oil field is about 120 kilometers north of the Chinese border.
And the oil was, you guys pumped it, or is it free flowing?
Well, both. So it was the first. We discovered the first free-flowing oil well in Mongolia, which was called 1903. So it became, it was big news in Mongolia. We had visits from a couple presidents, flew out, prime ministers, and all kinds of people. There's one famous day when the first democratically elected president visited our site.
Nice.
And he put his hand in the oil well and wiped it on his, what do they call, a dell, which looks similar to this.
Yeah.
And that's in the National Museum now.
Downtown Ulaanbaatar.
In downtown Ulaanbaatar, yeah. So, so that was kind of a neat visit from him, and it's kind of a historical time.
Cool.
So anyway, so that was a free-flowing oil well. And then after that, we had a bunch more wells that we had to install pumping equipment on. So installed downhole pumps.
Is it good quality oil?
It was good quality oil.
Yeah.
It was high in paraffin, high in wax, which made it, the cold weather a little bit difficult because it would, wax up and get hard.
Yeah.
So as long as you kept the heat to it, it was really good. I try to think the specific gravity was like 39 or 40, which is pretty good high quality oil.
Nice.
Yeah. So we eventually built a road to China and exported our oil to a facility called Airshan in Inner Mongolia in China.
And is that a refinery?
That's a drop-off point where they have a bunch of a large oil field, and I think they pipe it from there to a refinery.
Okay, cool.
So,
Cool.
Yeah. So it's a small place in China, a place that nobody's ever heard of. It's like 1 million people.
Nobody's heard of it, and a million people have.
Yeah, exactly. So the first trip I went to a shopping mall there with a couple of our workers, and I'm pretty certain that nobody there had ever seen a Westerner before. So I had my picture taken, I don't know, every
10,000
steps.
times.
Yeah, picture taken with families and
short
little kids.
White guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that was interesting. It was a bit different.
Yeah. What? How many? Was it barrels a day?
Yeah,
Did
barrels.
you ship from Mongolia to China?
From Mongolia. So
around doesn't have to be
about
specific.
1,000 barrels a day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so not big and not small. It was okay for a grassroots project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody wishes they had 1,000 barrel a day well in their backyard.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
That'd be all right.
Yeah, and in 2000, the oil prices went down to like $9 a barrel, so that was pretty shitty, and it was a bit tough to find buyers even.
Yeah.
Since then, obviously, prices had gone up. Only a couple years later, prices were $50, $60 a barrel.
So, at that first flowing well, or the first free flowing well, you lived on that site, like in Acco trailers or Russian-made Acco trailers or something.
Yeah,
that's like a little camp.
Yeah, we built a little camp there. They were German-made Atco trailers.
BMW? Not really.
No, but they were nice though.
Yeah.
Anything German-made is pretty good.
Yeah.
So they were just like an Atco trailer. When we built a camp, it was probably by the time we were done, 5-6 years into the project, it was a 150-man camp.
Oh,
and
I didn't know it ever got that big.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was good. And so because we were in the middle of nowhere and we had a good camp and we had good food and cooks and hot showers, it was good.
Yeah.
It was kind of known by all the politicians and our friends in the capital city that it was a good place if you wanted to go on the countryside and maybe go hunting or go for a trip. They would always stay at our camp. So
this location, it wasn't in the Gobi. It was like
not the Gobi, but it's called the Steppes.
And it's very similar to the terrain around here.
Very similar, yeah. And, I mean, I guess maybe more similar to Saskatchewan because it's really flat.
Oh yeah, the flatlander.
Flatlands, but nice, nice grass, and you never find oil in a real nice spot. There's
not very often.
Not very often. Yeah.
I don't think they're pumping oil in Maui.
No, exactly. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So anyway, so it was good. The camp was nice, and like I said, we always had lots of cool visitors. Come out and stay in our camp.
Was it hard to get there? Like when you left here, let's say they phoned you today, said, "When can you be here?" How long did it take?
Well, from Canada, it was, it's 2 days to the capital city at least, if you're lucky.
And
then in those days, like 20 years ago, it would take 2 days to drive. It was about 700 kilometers, but there was no roads. And I think the first trip I ever made out there was the biggest rainfall they'd had in 30 years. So it took us 3 days to go. We flew from Ulaanbaatar to Choibosan, which is the closest major city. And then about a 200-kilometer drive took us 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah. Just got stuck a whole bunch of times. Ended up sleeping in the middle of a river in a Land Cruiser.
Toyota Land Cruisers, they're a dime a dozen over there.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Absolutely.
More than anywhere.
That's all I remember of the vehicles, and then those shitty vans.
Yeah.
Russian vans.
The Russian vans. They call them a Portagon. And they're they look like a big bread box. And I call them like a vacuum cleaner. They look like a vacuum cleaner, and they suck in all the dust from outside. They're pretty bad.
I remember when I was there visiting, there was one in the Gobi. We drove around that thing. I was like, where'd they find this antique? And you're like, oh, it's brand new.
Yeah, exactly. You could buy them brand new, and they were only $6,000 or $7,000.
So. Not bad for that kind of money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'll tell you, that first trip, we drove to the oil site from Dornot. I was telling you, it took us 3 days, and I know the driver, who's a good friend of mine today, Boggy.
Bogey, yeah, I met Bogey. Yeah.
So something happened the day before he picked me up, and there was an accident with the car, and somehow they backed into a tree with the door open and ripped the door off.
Went the wrong way.
So then they had the door tied shut with somebody's belt. So it was rainy and crappy, so mud and water was coming in, and it was just a gong show. That was my first real experience. I was wondering what it was. Always
was there a point you're like, what what the hell am I doing here? Not really.
Yes and no. I mean, yeah, it was.
But you weren't like horrified.
I was never horrified, and I was never ready to leave.
Really?
But it was a bit. It was. The first few days were the toughest for sure.
Challenging.
Yeah, yeah. And then I got to camp, and it was summertime, and it had just been raining, so there was shitloads of flies everywhere. And the guys were cooking food in one of the containers, and there's flies everywhere. It was pretty gross. But that's not the norm. It was just
happened to be that way.
Just happened to be that way that time. So
where was I at there? That big market in Ulaanbaatar.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't there. Maybe it was like Thailand or somewhere. But
well, I know we've been to the market in both places.
This is one of the only places in the world where they don't hang meat outside all day.
Yeah, yeah.
There's flies covering everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Gross for us. For me seeing it the first time, but
yeah,
whatever.
I think the weather's dry enough there that the meat doesn't go off too easily.
Yeah.
So yeah, they just have meat sitting around. It is gross if you've never seen it before. Just all kind of cuts and heads and tails and everything laying on the counter.
I never knew what I was eating in Mongolia, but I never asked either. I just ate it.
Yeah. Luckily in Mongolia they don't eat weird stuff.
Camel.
I guess camels.
That's weird. Horses.
And they eat. Well, they do eat a few weird things, I guess.
Weird for
marmot. They're big. They really like marmot.
They love marmot.
Yeah, yeah.
Really.
So there's an issue with that though. I think it's illegal to catch now because they actually still carry the Black Plague.
Oh.
So there's the fleas that live on the marmots.
Yeah.
They get into, and you can still get the Black Plague from
the
marmots.
Black Plague's bad, right?
Yeah.
It killed like 70% of the population of the planet
like
at one
that.
time back then. There's
exactly.
a good one to look up.
Yeah. So
the Black Plague. How bad was the Black Plague?
How many people did the Black Plague kill? Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I don't think people would realize it still exists today. I mean, you can still catch it.
Wow. And then there's the bubonic plague, but they're different, right?
That's different, I think, yeah. But so with the Black Plague and with these marmots, you have to catch them and then you burn the hair off right away.
Yeah.
And it'll kill the fleas, obviously, and then it's fine to eat. So if somebody serves you meat, you're fine.
Yeah.
But if somebody hands you a live one, then stay away.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So the meat's okay to eat. It was all right. Kind of greasy, but...
What other crazy food did you eat there?
The craziest thing probably was a wolf.
A wolf?
Testicle.
A wolf nut.
A wolf nut. So there's lots of wolves in that
area. That's something.
It's a bit different, yeah. I washed it down with a cool can of Coke. So that
were you hungry or were you dared?
No, we were drunk.
Drunk?
Yeah.
What?
So there was a bunch of us. There was a...
Was it cooked?
No, it was raw.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but it was cleaned up pretty good, so it wasn't like it wasn't like a sack hanging there.
It's meat.
It was just a meat kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we had all the our friends from UB, Ulaanbaatar, and politicians and all these guys. They'd come out and lots of them would go wolf hunting, and there's lots of wolves out there.
When I was there was people hunting the bighorn sheep, the
Marco Polo.
Marco Polos.
Yeah.
That's a big deal over there. Is it still a big deal? Like
still a big
20
deal.
years later?
Yeah. I'm not sure how many tags they auction, but they do auction off a certain amount of tags every year. And I know some years the tags can go for over $100,000 just for a tag to shoot. And that doesn't
Who do you think that goes to? The government or like outfitters, guides, or?
No, that goes to the tag money goes to the government.
That goes to the government coffers. Nice.
Yeah, and then of course they pay extra money to the guides as well.
Yeah, that's just for the tag.
That's just for the tag.
Yeah, it's big
Pretty
money.
insane. I met sitting at the bar one day. I met Dick and Mary Cabela from Cabela's.
Yeah.
And they were there to shoot the Marco Polo rams.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I remember that a little bit.
Yeah.
That story.
I remember Mary was wearing a whole bunch of jewelry. Who knows
Dolled
how
up.
many thousands of dollars worth of jewelry. And they were going to go out for dinner at night. I suggested she probably take some of it off.
Leave some of that in the safe at the hotel.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
So in UB, it's not a dangerous place, but it's a typical capital city.
I never felt threatened there, but
No.
it was the most dangerous thing I did there was cross the highway by
exactly.
foot.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
was nuts.
I got a good friend, Rob. He was drunk and crossed the highway, and the car hit him, and he was in the hospital for a year. Broke his leg
Is
in a
that
whole
the
bunch of
guy
places.
from Australia, Rob?
Yeah.
Big Rob?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got hit pretty bad. So
Wow.
yeah, that is the most dangerous thing. There's crossing.
The
street.
driving there was not the craziest I've ever seen, but it's pretty wild.
Yeah. When I first went, there was hardly any vehicles at all. You could cross the road blindfolded and you wouldn't get hit because there was no cars. Now you can cross the road blindfolded because it's all a traffic jam and you're not going to get hit either. It's gone from no cars to way too many.
Yeah.
So
I always remember telling people that when you first went there, just click it off. It's all good. That let's put on this and it won't shake. You couldn't get cheese.
Oh,
you could, but maybe not much.
I could get the first trip. I could get cheese. But I
Cheese
could get
whiz.
hardly anything else.
There's like
I could get really good quality balls of Dutch cheese.
Okay, but it wasn't like
instant noodles.
Wasn't much.
And nothing else. So I survived on instant noodles and cheese. For
Dutch
months.
cheese.
Yeah. Probably lost 60, 70 pounds just eating cheese and noodles. So that was a bit different.
And now they have supermarkets that are
Now there's supermarkets.
better than the ones we have here, probably.
Well, not better, but good.
So
You can't
close?
complain. I mean, there's Burger King and KFC now, so
Yeah,
it's gone from nothing to pretty much anything you want. So
yeah. They still like their vodka as much as they did when I was there.
yeah, you know what? I think it may have slowed down a little bit, but no, there's still huge vodka fans. If you go to a grocery store now, basically a third of it is going to be food, a third of it's candy and chocolates, and the other third is vodka and booze. So just huge selection, hundreds of kinds of vodka.
I remember going there and I couldn't keep up. People would just be pounding glasses of vodka, and I'd
Yeah.
be like passed out in the corner an hour later.
Yeah.
I'd be like, can't do it.
No, they just shoot it straight.
They're good drinkers.
Yeah, I mean, I did well for years. I think it's caught up with me. I basically stopped drinking a year and a half ago. I don't know what happened. My body just said enough. So
That's
yeah.
good. It lets you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I just wrote down a couple notes, but there's three things they love over there: archery, horses, and fighting or wrestling.
Wrestling, yeah, that's
And there's
right.
a big festival every year. Can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. That's called the Nanton Festival, and it happens in July, usually about the 9th or 10th of July, and it goes on for 3 or 4 days, and they have what they call the 3 manly sports.
Manly sports, yeah.
So wrestling, archery, and horse racing. So the horse racing is a lot of it's small kids, 6, 7, 8-year-olds.
And every kid knows how to ride a horse, probably, right?
Yeah, anybody that lives in the countryside,
country, yeah.
for sure. And the races are not a normal race. You know, the horses they're not very big. They're quite small, but they have a huge heart, so they can run forever. So a lot of the races are 10, 12, up to 20 kilometers as a race.
Nice.
So it's pretty impressive. The archery is pretty cool to see. It's basically they shoot from about 100 meters and then shoot at a target on the ground.
That's a ways away.
Yeah,
300.
I'm guessing, but it's about that from watching it. Yeah.
That's good. That's a good shot.
And then the wrestling is the most popular one for sure. So these guys are all massive, and they've gone from good Mongolian wrestlers to the Mongolians dominate sumo wrestling now.
Really?
Yeah. So a lot of not all, but the majority of the what do they call them? The yokozunas.
Yeah.
Are Mongolians.
Really?
Yeah. So there's one of the famous ones is Asashiro. He won, I believe, more championships than anybody in the history of the sport. And there's a few other champion Mongolian sumo wrestlers.
They got that fighting bloodline too over there, right?
Yeah.
We call him. What do we call him?
We call him Genghis Khan.
We call him Chinggis Khan here.
And they call him Chinggis
Oh,
Khan.
okay, yeah. We got it mixed
up a bit. So so Chinggis Khan is still a huge hero in the country. Everything's been named after Chinggis.
Yeah.
You have Chinggis Vodka, and the international airport is Chinggis Airport.
That's right.
He's on their money, and he's still a hero there.
He took over the whole world at one time, that guy.
Pretty much. He at one time the Mongolian Empire was the largest ever known empire. So
they go to a village. I remember you telling me this.
Yeah.
They go to a village, and they'd be like, we're going to kill you either way.
Yeah.
But if you cooperate with us, we won't kill all your
how did it go?
women and children and
basically
everything else.
Basically, it was kind of join us or get killed.
Join us or be slaughtered.
Yeah, and it's guaranteed. People figured out very quickly that they weren't joking around. Yeah, so they were pretty brutal.
That's why the Chinese built the Great Wall of China, to keep those guys out.
It was. And so interestingly, the Great Wall of China was built, it was built in different stages, but, approximately 10,000 years ago. And that was to keep the northerners out, the Mongolians. But Genghis Khan was actually only about 800 years ago. So the wall was built way before.
Okay.
So there was obviously, fighting and issues.
They've had
long time
they've
before
had their
Genghis.
struggles.
Yeah, exactly. So Genghis was 800 years ago. Lots of cool history and lots of stories to tell about that. I was thinking, I was going to go back to another story in Ulaanbaatar. That's all right. Let's move on. I can't think of what it was.
What else I got here? The Gobi Desert. Tell me what you know about the Gobi Desert. You spent a lot of time out there.
Yeah. So after I worked for Soko, I went and worked for a company called Entree Gold.
Entree Gold, out of Vancouver, I believe.
That's right. Yeah. So their head office was in Vancouver, and they had exploration licenses in Mongolia, exploring mostly for copper and gold, and so that was fun. I worked for them for 10 years.
That long, eh?
Yeah.
That's, when I was there, that's who you were working for.
That's right, yeah. So I think we took a trip down to the Gobi.
We did.
So the interesting thing about their property is their property totally surrounded a large project there called Oya Tolgay. And Oya Tolgay was originally founded by Ivanhoe. And Ivanhoe is basically now the operators are Rio Tinto, a huge mining company. So anyways, it was interesting that we had we, Entree Gold, had the property that 100% surrounded that project. And now it's, at the time, 10 years ago, it was the largest undeveloped copper mine in the world. And
that's where we were, right?
That's where we were, yeah. So now, since then, I think they've spent $7 or $8 billion US on that project, and they're still developing it now. So they're producing out of an open pit mine, and then they're developing the underground, and they'll start producing out of the underground. So when the mine is fully running, they expect that one mine to contribute 30% of the GDP of Mongolia.
Wow!
Out of one mine, so it's huge.
So they're waiting for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Obviously.
Yeah. It's a huge deal.
It's producing a little bit now.
It's producing out of the open pit, which is I think enough to, pay some operating bills and
buy more gas
for
the engines.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So
cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting project. So that's what's happening in Gobi. There's also a huge coal mine there called Tavan Tolgay.
That's how they make power there, right? A big coal burner right in the middle of town. Yeah, I remember that thing.
Yeah. There's like 5 big power stations right in the capital city.
And the Russians built those?
The Russians I think they built them all. And I know since then the Germans have come in and fixed a lot of them. But they were all originally Russian built, yeah.
And it's hot. They make hot water with that too, right? And that's what heats everything.
Exactly. It's pretty interesting. Yeah. So that it makes the electricity and the hot water. And they have big pipes that run all over the city.
It's the boiler for the whole city.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically, right?
Yeah. So it heats. It gives you your hot water for your showers, and it gives you your electricity as well. So
pretty crucial when it gets minus 40.
Yeah, I mean, it's
those
pretty.
Babies running.
It's awesome when it's running because you never run out of hot water.
You leave the hot tap on all day.
You could. But then there's a lot of time when it's broken down, and then you got nothing. So you either have lots of hot water or you got nothing. So
that's wicked.
Yeah.
Tell us about the government over there.
So
because they're structured. I mean, it's changed a million times in the last 10,000 years. But
yeah,
while you were there, what?
So in 91, I believe it was 91, the Russians left. Mm-hmm. So they kind of left to their own. So from 91 until about 2000, it was pretty tough. The Russians left behind lots of infrastructure, which was great.
Yeah, I remember that.
But they had factories and they had other stuff, and they just basically up and left, and which was pretty tough on the economy. So when I got there in 98, and the real difficult times had already been over.
Right.
and then things were really starting to improve about then. Even a couple of years later, things really improved, especially when foreign mining companies started to come in and spend money and do exploration and such.
Sort of splash some cash around the town.
Yeah, helps a lot. So when I first got there, I don't know how many foreigners were there, maybe that I knew. There's probably maybe 100.
Yeah.
And now there's thousands.
Yeah.
So the government system is the exact same system as they use in France. So they have a parliament and a government. So they have the parliament gets elected every 4 years.
Right.
So that's the same as our parliament. So they have a prime minister, and then they have a cabinet, and they have members of parliament, and then they also have a president. So the president is also elected every 4 years, and for the presidential election, you're just voting for a particular person, one person.
Not a party.
Not a party.
Oh,
so it's
cool.
usually 2 or 3 people run.
They put their hand up. I want to give a go at it.
Yeah, basically, and they're usually guys that had parliamentary experience or in the past.
Yeah.
So I guess they're supposed to be kind of a figurehead, but they do have a lot of power. They have veto power. The president has he has veto power over a lot of things, so he controls a lot of what.
Somebody's got to be in charge, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Somebody's got to be the boss, man.
Somebody has to be.
Yeah.
I don't know. You look at a place like Singapore, and what's his name? Lee Kuan Yew. I gotta remember. Anyway, he took the Singapore from absolutely nothing, and he ruled it with an iron fist, and it's a pretty amazing place today. Yeah. So I think, the current president of Mongolia, who I know quite well, I know he's spent a lot of time in Singapore, and he admires some of that. So he tries
trying to not copy, but using some of their beneficial things they do.
Yeah, he tries. He's a super tough guy. Yeah, he was an Olympic judo guy before, competed in Olympics. Him and his brother, big tough guy. So
I think I met him.
I'm pretty sure you met him when we were in Mongolia. When you came over, he owned the hotel. So you remember Willie and Billy?
Willie and Billy, yeah.
So that was
what was that hotel called?
That's the Bayangal Hotel.
The Bayangal.
Yeah. So Batolga, the president, he bought the Bayangal Hotel years ago. Yeah. And then one of his partners was Billy from Singapore, and then his brother Willie.
Yeah. Billy and Willie.
So I'm pretty sure you probably met up with Batolga at the Bayangal when we were there drinking.
I remember. Yeah. Vaguely. But
So
it's only there for a month or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Went by quick.
Yeah.
as it will.
Yeah, for sure.
What was the other one? I remember. What the hell was that guy? I lost it already. But anyways, you said you had
worked with
earlier on. You said you had a flying story to tell from over there.
Okay,
I remember flying in the Fokker 50 when we went to the Gobi Desert. The thing rattled like crazy.
That was an upgrade compared to what I had been used to.
Yeah.
So Miat, which is the national airlines, they used to have a bunch of Antonov 24s and 26s. So they're like a 45-seat Ukrainian-built airplane. And they're pretty
the garlic
old.
Burner.
Yeah. They're really old, and I think the safety record in Mongolia was not too bad, and I think they did have some issues, but some of the craziest things I saw, as a foreigner, our tickets cost, flying from Ulaanbaatar to Chobosan.
No red light on that one.
Yeah, I think that one might have died. But I think we should just continue with these two.
Okay.
So flying from Ulaanbaatar, the capital, to Chobosan, which was the dropping off point to the oil field, our tickets cost $90 US, and a local's ticket cost, in the local money, 15,000 turk, which was about $10. So we paid basically 10 times what the Mongolians paid. I'm just going to turn my phone off.
I think it's just making static. Here, put it over here.
I'm just going to turn it off.
There.
So
you're worse than a kid with that thing.
No. So they, anyways, we had expensive tickets.
$90.
No, it was $90 compared to 10 or whatever.
A local would be $9.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it was They say it was for insurance.
They seen you coming.
Yeah. But anyways, because you paid more, we used to get you choose what seat you wanted, and I always just sat right in the front, so you could get out of there if you needed to.
Get in and get out.
So a lot of the times, the cockpit door wouldn't close, so you could see what's going on in the cockpit, and it was a bit, how are you going?
Dodgy?
Sometimes. Yeah, a bit dodgy. There was a couple of times where we'd take off, and vodka bottles would roll out of the cockpit and roll down the aisle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when I was there's a pilot at the liquor store.
Yeah.
Buying a bottle, looked like he was heading to work.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not gonna be like that anymore.
No.
But yeah,
that's 20 years ago.
15, 20 years ago, it was pretty,
cowboyish.
very cowboyish. So that was always fun. And another funny story, when I was working for Entree Gold, I had one of my friends and one of my bosses' name was Bob. And Bob's the kind of guy awesome guy, but he always had the bad luck. If you went out for dinner, his meal would always be an hour later, after everybody else's. Anyway, we were flying to, maybe we were flying from the Gobi Desert to the capital city. And I was in the back of the plane. I didn't think anything of it. We land, and Bob tells me, "You want to guess who was sitting beside me?" I said, "I don't know." But he says, "A dead lady." So he was sitting close to the front row. Maybe he was in the front row, and he had a window seat. And a couple of people carried this lady in and sat her down next to him. And put the seatbelt on. And he's looking, and it
was like a weekend at Bernie's, but it wasn't Bernie.
No, exactly. It was some old lady passed away. They dressed her up and put her in the front row next to Bob.
Jesus
so he had to fly with her back to the city.
That'd be uncomfortable.
No kidding.
Yeah. Wow, so that is a good one.
Different. Yeah. One more funny one. When we're, I think this was with the oil company. One year I flew all our workers from the countryside to the city for a Christmas party.
Big shaker.
Yeah. And a lot of the guys had never left the countryside before, let alone get on an airplane. And I remember the one guy who was sitting beside me, he was super nervous.
Shit in his pants.
He was sweating, and he was looking around over there, and I'm asking him, "What's wrong? What's going on?" He's asking me, "How do you roll the window down on this thing?"
I need some fresh air.
It needs some fresh air. You can't roll the window down an airplane, bud.
Not on this one.
No. So
I had a helper 8 years ago. We were in Fort McMurray.
Yeah.
And he had never been in an airplane before.
Really?
He drove up there with a buddy, and we'd come home for days off.
Yeah.
He was a Mennonite or Hutterite or something.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
He did good, but he was just he didn't say a thing.
Yeah.
And we got to Calgary. I'm like, "How was that?" He's like, "Quick."
Yeah.
He's like, "That was fast."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, that's why we do it."
Exactly. It's worth it. Yeah.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Flying. Imagine if we didn't fly, eh? Be nuts.
Yeah, shit, I don't know.
In the old days, it'd take 6 months to get there.
Yeah.
Whatever, on a ship.
Yeah, exactly. Get on
Crazy.
a ship and then...
Planes, they're good.
Yeah.
They're a good thing. What, tell me some more things about there. What, if you were to go there, I always like to say, hey, if you're ever there, where would you stay? Where would you go and eat?
Right. So, the best time of the year to go was definitely in the summertime. It's like here, the weather's nice and...
It's the same latitude.
Yeah, I think so. The capital city is the same latitude as Wetaskiwin.
Yeah.
It's exactly.
Same.
Similar.
Yeah.
And it's landlocked. I think it's the second largest landlocked country in the world after Kazakhstan.
No port, no water
no
port, no boats. Everything comes by rail.
Yeah.
Or highway now.
Yeah, exactly.
But before, it was rail pretty much for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. So because it's landlocked, you don't get you don't have any of the influence from the ocean. So anyway, when it gets cold, it stays cold. But then when it gets hot, it stays hot as well.
You don't get a Chinook like we got a Chinook here.
No, nothing like that.
No.
So come in the summer, go during that Nanton festival where they have the horse racing and the wrestling.
Yeah.
That's the best time to go. Get out of the city. There's
those little camps we go to. What are close?
Yeah, so there's
the yurts, the tents.
Yeah, so the yurts.
Those are nice.
Yurts there, they're called gers in Mongolia. So we'd go to a ger camp. The place we went was called Terelj, which is about 70 kilometers outside the city. And it's a really nice, relaxing spot. So yeah, gears, you can live or sleep in the gear and eat Mongolian food, and it might cost.
It's a hotel in the country, but you live in those gears. What do they cost back? Like, what do they cost today?
When we went then,
They
it
seem
probably
cheap.
was $20 for a night, and now it's probably $60 or $70 a night. Plus food is cheap. It's still cheap. It might you won't spend $100 a person a night. So, and that includes
I'll just
booze.
tell the one story when we're in the Gobi Desert because I can remember it right now. We took that shitty Russian van.
Yeah.
For like, it was like 2 hours drive or something. We went to the Gobi store.
Oh yeah.
That's something to look up, Jordan. The Gobi store.
Yeah.
It's a real place. In the middle of Gobi Desert, there's this little store that's no bigger than half a size. It's like the size of a one-car garage.
Yeah, exactly.
And it had vodka and booze and a little bit of food and potato chips and chocolate bars, and that's it.
Yeah, all our guys called it the vodka shop.
The vodka shop.
Yeah.
And it's 1,500 kilometers from the capital, maybe?
No, it's about half that.
750, 800. It's the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it is. It's in the middle of nowhere.
I bought a ball of vodka and a bag of chips. I used my Visa card.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. Shit, I remember. So the town close to the big copper mine. It's called Humboldt. And as I remember, one of my friends that I worked with, Andrew, he called me one day and he just got back from Humboldt and he said, "Guess what I got in Humboldt?" I said, "What?" He said, a chocolate milkshake."
It's
like
like
Gobi Desert in the middle of nowhere. He said, "I can't believe I just got a chocolate milkshake."
Yeah. No, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's weird the kind of things that you
take for granted
take for
here.
granted for sure.
You can't get it there.
No. And you know, like
It's like Caesar
better,
mix.
but
It's like
still...
Mott's Clamato.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't get that shit anywhere in the world 10 years ago. Now you can get it everywhere almost. But
Yeah, you know, I bought some in Hong Kong about 6 months ago. I found a shop that has it.
$40 a gallon.
Yeah, it was like just I don't know if it was a liter, maybe a liter jug was like 15 US. So
It was a pricey drink.
but it was worth it. I bought a couple, yeah.
For sure.
For a couple Caesar, bring it back to Mongolia.
Yeah. There's almost a half hour or more.
Yep.
I need to take a break. I need to go get a drink.
Yeah, for sure. Me too.
Happy?
Yep.
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
We're back.
We're back. All right, well, let's talk something totally like off the wall I didn't think we were going to talk about today, but Bitcoin mining. You're doing some of that?
Yeah. So I was involved in the last 6 months I was in Mongolia. So Bitcoin mining, you know, the major thing in Bitcoin mining is the energy usage.
The electricity bill.
The electricity bill, it's a huge...
They say it's not good.
No, it's probably not good for the environment. I mean, it takes a huge amount of electricity. Basically, one little miner, they say, uses the equivalent of a family home.
Right.
So, you know, there are Bitcoin mining facilities that have 10,000, 20,000 machines going. So it's like having a small city worth of electricity usage. So anyways, in Mongolia, I got involved with a couple of guys, a French Canadian and a German.
A Quebecois? No, I'm
I
just
think he's
kidding.
from Ottawa.
I'm just kidding.
Rene, yeah. Anyway, him and a German, and they live in Shenzhen in China, which is kind of the Silicon Valley of China.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I met Rene on the airplane, and we're flying from Hong Kong or to Hong Kong, and he was telling me about this little operation he had in Mongolia, and he was struggling. I couldn't find reliable people to get it up and going and get a good energy source, electrical.
Proven, reliable energy source.
So
It's always a challenge.
It's the biggest problem. And then, in Ulaanbaatar, there's not a lot of electricity as it is. The place has really grown, and they're still using the same 5 power plants they had before.
They're behind the times
on
the power supply.
So they import power from Russia, I know, and I think China as well, but definitely Russia. There's big power lines coming in. So anyways, there's already a shortage. So trying to start a bunch of Bitcoin miners is not always easy. Anyways, I hooked him up with some people and got involved, and we had about 550 miners going. So we set them up in containers and set them up in the backyard of a friend's place that had a big how do you say, electrical box and everything.
The power line went by his house.
Basically, went back. He has a big shop. They have a big
transformer.
Big transformer there that was good for a couple thousand machines.
Cool.
So that was pretty fun. I mean, did that. Helped set up the farm, the Bitcoin farm, and it's still going now. I'm not sure. I haven't had an update for a little while.
Yeah.
But it's still plugging away. But so 500 machines. Oh, I did the math. I should have done the math before we started talking.
Around about.
I think we would make about a Bitcoin a day, or 1.5 Bitcoin a day, something like that. Out of
but 500 machines rolling.
Yeah, and our
pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah,
but today's or a year ago's prices, because I know I bought some Bitcoin a year ago and it was expensive.
Yeah, and so no, it was good. And our electricity bill. So you set up in a place like Mongolia because electricity costs are cheaper than elsewhere. Yeah. But our electricity bill was still $40,000 a month.
Wow.
On 500 machines.
Wow. So you'd be burning it up.
Yeah, it's a lot. So I mean, it's not easy. It's not a simple job, especially when you have that many machines going.
I've heard a couple, like I don't even know where I hear this stuff from, but I've heard that it's a major contributor to world pollution.
Well, it would be. I mean,
it's the Bitcoin mining machines.
Yeah. The energy it takes is just unbelievable. Yeah. So.
Huh.
Oh, we'll see. I mean, the jury's still out on what Bitcoin's going to do. You know, I still have confidence in it.
I heard of it for years.
Yeah.
I was over at the neighbor's, his kid's into it, and
yeah,
he's like, "You guys need to buy like $100 worth of this stuff." And we're like, "Yeah, whatever."
Yeah.
It's bullshit. And then a couple of years go by, it's like, man, if we would have, we'd be buying yachts today.
Yeah, exactly.
So
crazy. I like everybody in the world kicking themselves. I know. I thought when I was at the oil field, we had a bunch of generators running pump jacks, and I said to myself back then that I should install Bitcoin machines in all of these generator shacks because there was extra electricity there.
You always had extra.
If I would have actually just done it.
Yeah,
same thing.
Awesome.
So I don't know, the Bitcoin stuff. It's still interesting. Anyway, I got my friends in Shenzhen that have actually developed they're working with a company out of Taiwan that's developed a new Bitcoin machine that
they need a green machine.
Well,
one that's not so hard on power.
That's what this one's all about.
Yeah.
So they made a chip that you're going to get about the same same bit rate out of a current machine, but half the electricity usage.
Nice.
So I believe they've just started selling these machines. So that's pretty interesting.
$40,000. I'm trying to figure out a way to. So it would take forever, like a solar panel system with the big battery, and like what.
You can, but then you can only get so many machines.
Yeah.
I mean,
it'd be tough.
There's a lot of there's big farms set up in Quebec apparently because they have all that hydropower.
Yeah.
And they're paying like 3 cents for electricity. So in Mongolia, we were paying about 6.5, 7 cents.
Yeah.
And most people in Alberta, you're going to be paying, I think your bill says 7 cents, 6 or 7 cents, but then plus, you're paying 12 or 13. Yeah. So if a guy can...
Tax.
Yeah, exactly.
Did I stutter?
Yeah.
It's brutal.
It is.
Brutal.
It's like by the time you're done, it's double of what it should be.
Yeah.
So if a guy could find electricity for 4 or 5
then
cents, we could
get
thousands of machines set up here.
Yeah.
There's huge farms in China, and one of the leading companies setting up these Bitcoin farms. The guy got arrested about 8 months ago.
Chinese arrested him?
Chinese guy. He was stealing electricity from the government.
He was doing too good.
He stole the electricity, millions of dollars worth of electricity. So he got shut down.
Yeah.
And I know the Chinese government's pissed off at the whole thing.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people looking for places to put their machines. So, which is interesting.
Maybe we should buy one of the old coal burners that they're shutting down here.
Yeah.
We'll put it into service, run the Bitcoin machines.
Well, why not? Or, those gas wells that are sitting doing nothing, set up a little generator there and Bitcoin machines.
There's one just down the street that do the whole town of High River.
Yeah.
Has enough gas as an orphan well.
Well, that's what you need.
Sour, though.
Is it?
whatever that. I don't know how to fix that, but.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there's a way to do it. You burn it. And,
they've been doing it.
Yeah.
I just don't know how.
No, exactly.
Someone around town.
That's what a guy needs. He just needs some cheap energy and
cheap gas.
Yeah.
Cheap natural gas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff. We got a few more minutes.
Yeah. Well, we've been to Thailand a couple times.
1999 and then 2013.
Yeah.
That was fun. A month both times, so I was there.
Yeah.
Phuket the first time. Then we were there, and then it wasn't that long after. It was a little while, but that tsunami hit there. It was like scary.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, we went in 99. We just went we were still young and just went and had fun.
It was a riot. Oh, yeah. So Tim Collis, I seen him the other day, and we were laughing.
Yeah.
Because I run into him there.
Crazy story. You sent me a picture of us.
Yeah. So I'm walking down the street. You're like sleeping because you'd sleep all day.
Yeah.
And I'd be up early.
All night.
I go hit it hard. And
yeah.
I'm walking down the street and I see these two soldiers standing there smoking darts or whatever they're doing. Yeah. It says on their shoulder, Canada. So I go over to.
We were sitting at the bar together, and those guys were at the bar.
They were there after I found Tim. But I said to those guys, I go, you guys are from Canada, right? And they're like, well, probably said, you're from Canada, eh?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah. They go, where are you from? I said, Nanton, Alberta.
I've got
and the guy says to me, he goes, do you know Tim and John Collis? I'm like, yeah, totally. He goes, well, he's right in that hotel right there. Yeah. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
He's like, no. So I go over there, I go to the front desk. It was like not a nice hotel. It was like the run of the mill.
Yeah.
So I find out it's 2 in the afternoon, 3 in the afternoon. I find out what room he's on.
Yeah.
I find out what room he's in.
Yeah.
And I go up there and I just start banging on the door, like bang, 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 bang. And they probably hadn't been to bed.
Yeah.
Like they're up all night, whatever, right?
Yeah.
He comes to the door and he's like, Alberta, what do you do? And I just like jump in there, like cannonball and right on the top of the bed.
I remember him saying he thought he was back in Nanton.
He thought he was, he couldn't figure it out. Yeah. It took him like a little while to figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
Then we spent maybe a week or 10 days with those guys there.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah,
they're in there for shore leave.
Shore leave. A lot of the Navies stop off in Phuket. And
yeah.
You'll see when you come over the hill into Phuket, and you'll see the big warships.
Battleships and all that. Yeah, so, that was a good story.
Yeah. Yeah, crazy finding Tim in the middle of nowhere, eh? Wow.
14,000 kilometers or miles from home.
Yeah.
There he is. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Those pictures are funny. We'll put those pictures on. They're totally funny. Back when we were 20 years old.
You look young.
24. I would have been 24 years old.
Yeah, same.
I think. Something like that. Yeah, so.
Tim looks tiny, yeah, in that picture.
He's like that tall.
Yeah,
I don't know. I didn't think he's that short, but we're just tall, I guess.
I guess so.
Yeah. He did good. Fun. He did the Navy, and then, he was always in the Air Force.
Yeah. Because
he worked on the helicopter on that ship.
Right.
The Sea King helicopter.
Yeah.
And then he did a transfer out to Moose Jaw, and he was and I'm probably wrong, like the chief mechanic or whatever, chief maintenance officer for the Snowbirds.
That's right. Yeah, his name's on that plane in the Nanton Bomber Museum.
The Tudor that's in there. Yeah.
Oh, there's the Snowbird.
Snowbird Tudor. Yeah.
So there's what's his name? Robinson was a pilot.
I was trying to remember that guy's name the other day.
Tink and Judy's son.
Tink and Judy Robinson's son.
Can't remember his first name.
He flew an F-18 back 20 years ago when they first got him, or I don't know. I could probably full of shit.
Yeah.
On Remembrance Day or something. Somebody said he hit supersonic going over town, but I think it's bullshit. I would have blown the windows out. I don't know, but
maybe
he did. He came in a little hot.
Nice. Yeah. Over Nanton.
Yeah, that's what I heard, but I don't remember that.
I wonder what he's doing now. He'd be a cool guest for you.
Is Tink and Judy still around?
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I remember that guy.
Yeah.
He's famous.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, he flew a snowbird. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah. Totally cool.
Yeah.
What?
So our next trip in Thailand, so 2000, I actually went to Thailand on an offshore drilling rig.
Oh, yeah. I remember
so as company man on the drilling rig, we drilled 3 wells offshore Thailand. That was an experience.
I totally forgot about that. The Trident 9. Trident 9. That's
Yeah,
right.
the company at the time was Setco Forex.
You phoned me one time. You're looking for a stack,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
BOP.
At BOP, yeah.
You're looking for a BOP, and I phoned like 10 of my buddies, and I found one, but it was
Right.
you couldn't get it quick enough or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was crazy. We picked up the rig in Indonesia and towed it to the Gulf of Thailand
Nice.
and drilled 3 wells. It was interesting. And then, I don't know, like the trip before ours, the Trident 9 was in the Natuna Sea in Indonesia and basically burnt down. The rig burnt down.
Yeah.
And then
Like a blowout?
it was some sort of blowout.
Yeah.
The Natuna Sea's, I guess, notorious for shallow gas pockets.
Oh, okay.
So then an issue, and then we drilled our 3 holes. We had no issues. Everything was great. And then the rig went back to Indonesia. I'm not sure if it was the hole after, but anyways, not long. Maybe within a month after, they ditched one of the helicopters coming off of it and killed 8 people or something. So that was pretty bad. So it's pretty. Just shows you how dangerous that is. I was
totally dangerous.
Pretty lucky we had no issues. So yeah.
Good living facilities on that thing.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Good
really
cooks.
good food, and
Yeah,
there was
I know
lots
you
of.
told me about that.
It was kind of based in Indonesia, so there was Western food and lots of really good Indonesian food, which is spicy. And,
Yeah, I like that stuff.
yeah, so yeah, it was great.
I think that's one of my favorite things about going to Thailand or going anywhere is the food. It's always different.
Thailand's Thai food's probably my
food's
favorite
kick-ass.
foreign food for sure.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You go to a Thai restaurant anywhere outside of Thailand, and it's just not the same.
Ain't the same.
I don't know.
The shittiest restaurant in Thailand's better than the best one here.
Yeah, for Thai food. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
And we did the last time we went for your friend's wedding.
Yeah, Mike the pilot.
Yeah.
Mike Just.
So went to his wedding, and I've actually met up with Mike since then.
Yeah.
In Macau.
Yeah.
But anyways, we did a cooking class.
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah. Tom Yum guy. Tom Yum soup.
We made
whatever.
a few things. Yeah, made
Yeah.
Tom Yum and.
Went to the market. They did the whole tour. Spent a day with the chef. It was good.
Yeah, that was probably one of the markets where we saw the flies crawling.
I
all
still
over
got the cooking apron from that.
Do you?
I think so. I should.
You're good at
find
keeping
that.
stuff like that.
I'm good at a lot of things.
So that was fun. Yeah, I mean, Thai food is nothing like it. Get up in the morning and eat a spicy bowl of soup or something, and then go for it. It's awesome. Sweat your balls off.
I like that place.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Canadians go to Mexico or Cuba or whatever in the wintertime, and when we're in Mongolia, everybody you'd go to Singapore or Thailand. So
That's where you winter.
that's where it would winter. Yeah.
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 Everybody from here goes to Arizona
Arizona
or
yeah.
Maui, Hawaii.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
They don't go anywhere else.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Thailand's really good.
Yeah.
I'd recommend it to anybody for sure.
Well, is that a wrap?
Sure.
Okay, buddy. Thanks.
No worries.
We'll have you
thanks for
back
having me.
again.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
We'll do it.
awesome.
Well, let's talk more about some food or something next
Yeah.
time.
We're gonna get some cameras up on the old stove there too. We'll do a cooking
Yeah?
show one day. It'll be a
Yeah.
while down the road, but
Yeah.
we'll make that happen.
Let's do it. Do it while the weather's nice.
Exactly.
Awesome.
That's it.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Let's do it again. Cheers.